Welcome to Command the Camera.
Welcome back to Command the Camera. I'm here with Kerry Barrett, an Emmy-winning journalist turned trusted video authority for attorneys and law firms. She will share proven strategies to help you show up with confidence, build trust on screen, and turn your online presence into a powerful business tool. Let's raise your visibility, and credibility one video at a time. I'm Evan Mack, and today we're talking about conversion, because visibility alone doesn't build a practice. A video can look polished, it can sound professional, it can even get views, and still it doesn't lead to consultations. If that's happening, it's not random, there's a reason. So let's break down why most lawyer videos don't convert and what to adjust. Ms. Kerry, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
It's awesome. So can you kind of explain the difference between that visibility and conversion? You know, views and impressions are not the same as trust and action, yes?
No, absolutely. You make a really good point. So views tell you one thing. They tell you that the algorithm liked your video. That is it. Visibility simply means that people saw you. Conversion means that they trusted you enough to pick up the phone or fill out a contact form. And those are two entirely different outcomes. And a lot of attorneys, a lot of business owners for that matter, confuse the two of them. I've seen attorneys get thousands of views on a video and get literally 0 calls. And then I've seen other attorneys get a couple hundred views on a video, and they get 3 booked calls that week. The difference is what happens in those 60 to, let's say, 90 seconds. So did the person watching this video feel like the attorney really understood their specific situation? Did they feel reassured in all of it? Did they feel like this is someone who would be steady and who would be competent if they hired them? And if the answer to any of those questions is no, if they feel like all they got was information, they're going to keep scrolling. They may save the post because there's some good information there. They may even think that was a cool video and then never come back. Views measure reach, conversion measures trust. And trust is built by very specific things that most attorney videos, and again, I'm not picking on attorneys, but that's who we're talking to. This happens to executives, it happens to founders, it happens to business owners. There are very specific things that most of these videos are accidentally leaving out.
So can you break down the most common issue?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's speaking in generalities. By far, that is the most common issue. And you know, it's an interesting dichotomy because attorneys have a tendency to be very comprehensive, which means they get into the weeds often. There's a lot of legalese there. But for example, an attorney will put together a video that says, you know, if you've been in a car accident, you may be entitled to compensation, right? We've all heard those. Contact an experienced attorney to discuss your options, yada, yada, yada. You know, that example, and we probably have all seen videos or commercials that say that exact thing. I mean, yes, technically it does say something, there's some information, but it says nothing at all that's specific that makes a person feel seen. So a different version of that particular message might be something along the lines of, if you were rear-ended at a stoplight last week and the insurance company is already calling you for a recorded statement, don't give it. Here's why. That second version grabs the person by the collar and says, I know exactly where you are right now. The first version could be on any law firm's website or on their social media, right? This is the mistake that I see literally all the time. They default to very broad, very safe language. Again, you know, they're trained not to overstate their claims. But while that's great training for attorneys, it's terrible for video.
So can you discuss how, you know, that tone impacts their conversion?
Yeah, so tone is huge and is one of the hardest things for most attorneys to hear, because most of them, you know, and again, this is more broadly applied than to attorneys, but a lot of people making videos don't understand that your tone is actually working against you. So there's something that happens. You know, you need to sound credible, you know, you need to sound authoritative. So you unconsciously shift into sort of that like courtroom register. I did it when I was a broadcaster. I put on my broadcast voice and I talked like this because I thought it made me credible. Chin up, your voice drops, your pace slows, your delivery is like very measured, very deliberate. From, their side of the camera, it sounds like authority. From the viewer's side, it feels distant. It feels like somebody's talking to them from behind a podium. And there's an important emotional component to what a viewer is going through when they are watching you as well. They are probably scared. They are probably dealing with some sort of legal issue that is one of the hardest things that they've ever dealt with in their life, and it is keeping them up at night, right? It's a problem they don't fully understand, also important to note. So they're trying to figure out if this particular attorney is somebody that they can trust with something that feels really high stakes to them. And authority is important, but authority without any warmth doesn't reassure a frightened person. It intimidates them. So the attorneys whose videos convert have actually figured out how to do both of those things at the same time, how to have authority and also how to have warmth. And I remember when I was working with an attorney in a top 100 firm, and I told her, well, you have a warmth to you. And she almost took it as an insult. And I'm like, no, that's good. That's going to work for you on video. You have the authority already. Now you sound like somebody who can be trusted, and that's key.
So can you explain why information alone doesn't always convert?
Yeah, it seems probably like that should be really, we hear about educational videos and bring value and all that stuff. And attorneys, for the most part, default to information because they are trained to build these sort of airtight arguments that are supported by evidence. So, they think if I explain this area of law thoroughly enough, right? I talked a couple of minutes ago about this default towards being very comprehensive. If I explain this area of law thoroughly enough, people are going to see how knowledgeable I am and they're going to want to hire me. But that is not how prospective clients process video. A prospective client is looking at a legal video without taking notes. They're making a gut decision. That's where video shines. It shines with bringing people to feeling things. They are asking themselves, do I trust this person? Does this person seem calm? Do they seem competent? Am I going to feel safe having them handle, this particular problem that I'm going through? And if your video gives them 8 paragraphs of legal explanation, you have answered a question that they were not asking you. What they actually need from your video is 3 things. It's clarity about the situation they're in. It's confidence that you understand what that situation is. And it's a signal that you can guide them through it. That is it. The information stuff, that's on your website. That's in your blog post. That's in the actual consultation. The video's job is to make them feel confident enough to take the next step. That is it. When you overload it with information, you accidentally show that you are more interested in showcasing all of your knowledge than in helping the person watching.
Can you break down the importance of structure?
Yeah, the structure is important, and it can be difficult because what works on one platform doesn't necessarily work on another, and you see different styles of video everywhere, but there is some basic rules of thumb that apply to structure. And there's a couple of reasons that it's important, which I'm going to jump into. So when a video rambles, when it starts in one place and it drifts to another, and then it circles back and it adds another tangent, the viewer's mind reads that as disorganization. So if you're an attorney, obviously disorganization is probably one of the last things you want people associating with you. They're about to hand you a legal matter. They need to think that, or believe is a better way of saying it, that you can manage complex information with precision. A rambling video undermines that belief. And before you've even said anything about the law, if you're going to be talking about the law, the structure is not complicated. So you need a clear opening that tells this viewer why this video is about them and what it means to them specifically. You need a focused middle where you deliver on, what that intro said you were going to deliver, the promise, right? What they said, what you said you were going to talk about, and then you need a definitive close, right? So what should they do? Beginning, middle, and end, just like a story or just like a narrative. When a viewer watches a well-structured, let's say 60-second-ish video, they walk away feeling that that attorney has their act together. When they watch a 3-minute video that may be more comprehensive but wanders, they walk away feeling unsure.
So can you discuss that, how unclear calls to action weaken
Yeah.
the results?
Yeah. So that's the end, right? The end of the video. What do you want somebody to do? CTA, call to action. And your videos absolutely need them. And what goes wrong usually when it comes to the CTA is one of two things. Either it's missing entirely or it is vague. So I've seen attorneys deliver, genuinely solid 60 seconds of video content and then just sort of like stop. The video ends. There's no direction. There's no next step. The viewer liked what they heard, but now they have to figure out what the heck they're going to do about the fact that they liked it. And, viewers, I hate to say it, are like kind of lazy. They don't want to figure it out. They're not going to bother figuring it out. They're going to scroll to whatever the next thing is. So that's like not including a CTA at all. The second thing is something that's vague. So an example of something that's vague would be, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Like, how, where, what do I say? What do I do? Feel free to reach out. Places the onus on the viewer. And again, viewers do not like to do the work. A strong call to action is very specific and it's very low friction. So click the link if it's an Instagram video, click the link in my bio to schedule a free 15-minute call, or, comment below with your question and I'll answer it in a video, or, visit my website. The link is right here. Fill out a contact form. You're telling exactly what to do and how to do it and making it very, very easy. And it sounds incredibly basic, but I would guess that probably about, I would say 80% of the attorney videos I view either skip that entirely or make it so soft that it's not noticeable.
So can you explain how anxiety shows up subtly on camera and affects how persuasive a message feels?
Yeah, so anxiety absolutely affects conversion, and it shows up in ways that a lot of people don't realize. So overt nervousness, right? Shaking hands, cracking voice, that's fairly obvious. Not usually what I see with attorneys. These are professionals who perform, under pressure pretty much every day. So they're not going to visibly, shake. What happens is something that's a little more subtle. Their delivery gets flat. Their facial expression goes neutral, maybe even blank to some degree, because they're concentrating so hard on not making a mistake that all the stuff that showcases that you're connecting with the words sort of drains out. It means pacing gets monotone. It means they're not looking at the camera very much. They maybe start speaking faster to get through it all very quickly. And none of those things scream nervous to the viewer. It's not as if they're like neon flashing lights that says, I'd rather be anywhere but here. But what they do scream is untrustworthy or disconnected. And both of them are bad. And here's the thing, viewers, and this is like across the board, usually can't articulate why they feel a certain way about a video. They just know that they watch it and they think like, I don't know, there's something about this that seems off, or, I get a weird vibe is maybe how they might describe it. And all that is what's residue, I guess is a good way of describing it, of anxiety. The attorney thinks they're hiding it. They're not. The camera picks up and amplifies everything. And when a viewer feels that disconnect, even if they feel it just a little bit, they're usually not going to pick up the phone.
So can you break down the role of consistency?
Yeah. So if you're talking about like one video versus doing consistent video, one video is not going to get you where you want to go. One video can go viral. That's great. One video, well, it's kind of great. Usually the viral videos are not the ones that bring in clients. One video can get you attention, absolutely, but one video very, very rarely builds trust enough for a client to commit to hiring. So if you think about it from your potential client or viewer's perspective, again, right? I touched on this before. They're facing a legal issue. The stakes are high. They find your video. It's good. Their next move is generally going to be vetting you, right? They're going to go look for more. They want to see if you're consistent. They want to hear you talk about a couple of different things so that they can get a bigger picture of who you are. They want to confirm that the person that they saw in that first video is real and it's not just like a one-time thing. So if they go to your profile and there's maybe one other video from 6 months ago and there's nothing else, the trust that you built in that first video evaporates. The consistency, right? Like if you go to a YouTube channel and you see one video there, right, you're probably going to scroll away.
Right.
Right? If you see, unless you're incredibly invested in that particular channel or that content, the consistency signals something that, one single piece of content can't do, and that's reliability. So you keep showing up, you keep delivering, you're not a flash in the pan, right? And for a client who's probably going to spend at the very least several $1,000s with you, reliability matters to a huge degree. So yes, one video is a great start, but the conversion element is going to come from a body of work, and that's where that trust really builds.
So can you tie it all together and kind of explain how clarity, composure, and strategic positioning shift the video from informative to persuasive?
Yeah. So first thing that I would look at is specificity. We talked about that earlier in the show. So pull up your last few videos, ask yourself, is this video only about one specific person's situation, or could it apply to basically anyone? And if it could apply to anyone, that's a problem. The second thing is your close. So do the video and end with a clear, specific action that your video or that your viewer rather should take. If it's something that fades out or ends with, reach out anytime, or, feel free to call me or book whatever, that's got to go like immediately. The third thing, and this one is the hardest thing for most people to do, and it takes a little more honesty, and it's watch your videos with the sound off. Just look at your face and your body language. Look at the energy that's coming through the screen. Right. Do you look like someone a scared person would want to call? Wow. Or do you look like you are stiff or flat or disconnected? It's those three things: specificity, a clear call to action, and the warmth in your delivery. Those are responsible for the vast majority of conversion problems I see. And none of them, right, I'm going to say this again, none of them require better lighting, a fancier camera, bigger production budget. They are all about the person delivering.
Wow. Good stuff, Ms. Kerry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Conversion doesn't require more content, it requires more intention. When your message is clear, structured, and aligned with what your prospective clients actually need to hear, your videos start working for you. So connect with Kerry on LinkedIn and book a Command the Camera Clarity call. You can find the link in her headline. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review if today's episode helped you think more strategically about your video presence. Until next time, keep showing up and let your credibility speak for itself.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.